A lot of good folks here. Folks are really resilient here, and they will recover. You know, it's just going to take a little bit of time.
The small town of Goodman, Missouri, torn apart by a tornado. 4029 News is there live with the town as it picks up the pieces.
And some remarkable scenes today, how the people living in this apartment complex made it through.
And Arkansas's parole board denies clemency to one death row inmate but recommends it for another. Could his life be spared?
Students are safe at one local elementary school today after a bomb scare forced them to evacuate.
Live, local, late breaking. This is 4029 News at 5.
Hi everyone, we begin tonight with the many pictures and the stories from our neighbors to the north in McDonald County. A tornado destroyed much of a small town there. I'm Kelly Johnson.
And I'm Paige Preusse. The images are unreal. You sent us a lot of these. These are videos and pictures of the storm just before it moved into Goodman. And these images show the aftermath of that tornado. Many buildings destroyed or damaged, but by some miracle, there have been no reports of anyone seriously hurt.
That is the good news out of this. Of course, we have team coverage for you tonight. Our Brett Rains and Katie Davidson are on the scene there in Goodman, and meteorologist Darby Bybee and Taylor Pinnell are here with us in studio.
And here's a look at some of the damage from the tornado. As we just told you, many buildings either destroyed or damaged. We want to go now to 4029's Brett Rains,
who's joining us live outside of Goodman Elementary School. Of course, Brett, one of the hardest hit buildings we know. What's the latest on the damage across town?
Well, right here is where the tornado touched down, pretty much in the center of Goodman. Now take a look at this. You can see huge sheets of tin here that were ripped off roofs and crumpled like cans. And walk with me, let's show you this. And also the tornado ripped apart trees and snapped power poles like twigs and left a lot of debris for people to clean up. Now the emergency manager tells me people here did not have much warning. Emergency managers estimate the tornado left a path of destruction for 3 miles. People only had minutes to get to safety.
There was probably 3 minutes worth of warning. We actually got the spotters out. We got the tornado siren sounded. And probably within 3 minutes, we had the tornado on the ground.
2 fire stations were destroyed. Right now, neighboring departments are helping respond to emergencies. Downed power lines are still a problem as crews work to fix them and restore power. Today, firefighters went door to door to check on residents. Emergency managers estimate approximately 50 homes were damaged.
Not destroyed, major shingle damage, roof damage, trees, you know, into the side of the houses, things like that. Not flattened.
And as we told you, there were no major reports of injuries, but the emergency manager said one person, when they ran from their house after the tornado hit, the emergency manager tells me that person fell and broke their leg. Live in Goodman, Brett Rains, 4029 News.
All right, Brad, and the elementary school in Goodman was completely destroyed. Take a look at this. These are images of what used to be inside the classrooms, and the gym there was destroyed. Folks there tell us that this was the heart of the community and served approximately 320 students grades K through 4th. We found one student who came out today to see what happened to his school.
I heard a lot of thunder and the tornado and the alarm, and it was really scary. And I saw my parents and my sister and my brother all charged to my room to get to the bathroom.
Tonight at 6, we'll learn where and when school administrators are planning to hold classes.
And right now, crews still out there working to repair the power. You can see from this video there were a number of power lines down in that area, and we're told by city officials that some of the repairs could take several days. Right now in Goodman, where most of that damage is located, there are more than 1,000 customers without power.
We're going to bring in 4029 Chief Meteorologist Darby Bybee now. And Darby, you have more on the timing of this storm.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take it kind of through the development of this storm and kind of how it moves through the Goodman area. Of course, yesterday at about 6 in the evening, we had a line of storms moving our direction, already produced a lot of hail. The storm that moved through Goodman had produced baseball-sized hail in northeast Oklahoma. As it continued to the northeast through northeast Oklahoma, it actually became a little bit ragged. It started to lose a lot of organization and a lot of strength as it moved into Missouri. Now, it was just minutes before this storm hit Goodman that the storm itself started to actually take shape. And folks, it took shape. My goodness. This hook echo right here, classic supercell shape, started to wrap up, and that's when you saw the tornado over Goodman. I mean, this thing wrapped up in about 2 or 3 minutes, very, very quickly. Tornado warning was issued. We were on the air letting people know what was going on. And then more funnel clouds were spotted after this storm moved further to the north and east, producing a lot of hail, wind damage across parts of southwest Missouri. A second storm develops, and that second one that went right over Rogers and Pea Ridge later produced another tornado just over the border in southern Missouri. Now, to tell us more about this storm that hit Goodman, we're going to go to our newest meteorologist at 4029, Taylor Pinnell.
Well, thank you, Darby. The National Weather Service did send out a survey crew to the Goodman area today, and we can confirm for you that the storm we were tracking last night did produce a tornado. The National Weather Service says the storm that struck the town of Goodman just before 6:50 last night was rated as an EF2. That means the tornado was estimated to produce winds around 120 miles per hour at times. So you can see why the damage was so extensive. Paige?
All right, Taylor, thank you. And one of the buildings destroyed by this tornado was this car wash here. You can see the truck is completely covered by debris. We spoke to the owner of the car wash about what the storm was like for her and her family, and she says that she's just grateful everyone is alive today.
Mind you, we have a storm shelter, but it was already in the backyard. I seen a tree fly past, and I could see the white wall coming at us. So I ran back in the house and just told Mom we got to take cover. So we ran into the dining room and laid on the floor. And, you know, it was just, and then as soon as it passed, I got up. I couldn't believe the house was still standing. I figured that was probably, you know, it was going to wipe us out.
Well, thank goodness it didn't. She's also grateful, she says, for the emergency crews who responded and made sure everyone is okay.
And one of the other buildings damaged in the Goodman tornado was an apartment complex. We got our first look at that through a picture last night, a powerful picture, the roof completely torn off. 4029's Katie Davidson is joining us there live tonight. Katie, how are the people there holding up?
Well, late last night, as storms rolled through McDonald County, residents of this apartment in Goodman told us they didn't expect nearly as much damage.
I didn't think nothing of it, and then all of a sudden I hear this big noise, and then the roof came in, and it was storming really bad.
The wind ripped part of the roof off of the 3-story apartment complex, leaving water to pour into these homes through the floor and into the apartments below. Melissa Johnson wasn't in her home when the storm rolled through, but was devastated when she came home and saw the damage left behind. Today, they were told they're afraid the ceilings will cave in on the lower apartments and will likely have to tear down the complex.
It's disheartening to know you have a house one day and you don't have a house the next.
For now, Johnson and her family are staying at a friend's house, but the uncertainty is the hardest part.
We absolutely don't know. That's what's so hard, is we have no plans for the foreseeable future. I mean, they're letting us stay with them for as long as we need to, but we don't know how long that's going to take. We don't know if it's weeks, months, a year. We don't have any plans.
Well, we know one resident on this floor of the apartment complex went to the hospital after the storms were over. She wasn't physically hurt by the storm, was extremely traumatized after the incident. Live in Goodman, I'm Katie Davidson, 4029 News.
Gosh, and you can't even blame them. Katie, thanks so much. Well, we want to give a big thanks to all of you who were kind of our eyes and our ears out there last night. Some of you captured some amazing, incredible sights, and we want to share some of those with you now from our You Local page. Judging by the beautiful start, you'd never know the day that was to come. This You Local user even captioned his pictures, "Perfect spring day. Wish I was fishing." But things changed quickly as we moved into the evening. That sunrise proving to be not the only incredible light we'd see in the sky yesterday. Our first sign of the storms was the lightning, captured here in Siloam Springs with a faint rainbow in the background. And here, ripping through the sky very close to a row of homes. As Darby warned us, hail would be a concern. We're hoping You Local user Tata Bugs in Greenwood had their car inside, because that hail could leave a mark. Brandy McMahon captured these dark, low clouds in Bentonville, wondering if this could have been the same system that produced that tornado not even 30 miles to the north in Goodman. The only casualties from the storm in our area were some beloved trees that once decorated yards, now in their final resting places. So thanks again to all of you who sent those in. Those were just some of the hundreds of pictures that came into our inbox. Paige is going to have more for you tonight at 6.
Of course, we also have some from Southwest Missouri. All those will be at 6 o'clock, and we are pulling those from social media. It's not too late to send them, Facebook and Twitter.
That's right. Well, to this now, today 2 inmates on death row scheduled for execution in just a matter of weeks now went before the state parole board pleading for clemency. Ultimately, the decision whether or not to spare their lives is going to be up to the governor. This board can only make recommendations. After listening to their arguments today, the board in the case of Kenneth Williams did not recommend clemency, but in the case of Jason McGehee, the board voted 6-1 to recommend his life be spared. McGehee is still scheduled for execution April 27th, again, unless the governor decides otherwise.
Students had to be evacuated at a local elementary school this morning after a bomb threat on campus. Gravette Upper Elementary School officials would only say that a threatening message was found. They say it happened around 11:30 this morning, and the students were moved to the competition gym until investigators were able to sweep that school. A spokesperson says that parents were notified, and after the school was cleared, those kids were able to go back to class. The new flight taking passengers directly from Northwest Arkansas Regional Airport to Washington, D.C. began today. The daily nonstop flight departs XNA at 7 a.m., getting you in our nation's capital by 10:45 a.m. It departs from Washington at 7:30 p.m. and then arrives back here at XNA at 9:10.
A judge has dismissed a lawsuit against 3 oil and gas producers. The suit had been filed in Oklahoma by the Sierra Club. It asked for a reduction of waste from those companies, saying they were responsible for the recent earthquakes in the state. The judge dismissed the suit today, saying the Oklahoma Corporation Commission should determine how much wastewater is acceptable to avoid earthquake activity.
President Trump has shifted his tone on Syria after a deadly chemical attack that's happened on civilians. We'll tell you how the president is responding. Plus, here's another live look from McDonald County. We'll have more on the day after the storm coming up. But first, let's get you a look at traffic. This is a live picture here from our Embassy Suites camera there in Rogers. A beautiful picture. Looks like traffic, well, it's pretty green. We do have some slow spots though there, Kelly.
Yeah, if we take a look at our traffic maps, we can see slow traffic here on I-49 southbound between Johnson and Fayetteville.
President Trump has removed Chief Strategist Steve Bannon from the National Security Council. That reverses an earlier, more contentious decision to give Bannon access to high-level meetings. A senior White House official says that Bannon was initially placed on the National Security Council as a measure to ensure implementation of the president's vision, including streamlining operations at the NSC. Trump's first national security advisor, Michael Flynn, was at the helm at the time, but the official says that Bannon's role had nothing to do with troubles Flynn is facing.
And President Trump met today with the King of Jordan at the White House. Meantime, he's also facing questions about the suspected chemical attack in Syria. Our Aixa Diaz is in Washington tonight, reporting the president now taking a different tone.
President Trump says his attitude toward Syria and President Bashar al-Assad has changed after yesterday's deadly attack as he faces pressure from lawmakers to take action.
That attack on children yesterday had a big impact on me.
President Trump calls the suspected chemical attack in Syria a terrible affront to humanity and one that cannot be ignored. But the president won't say what kind of action the U.S. will take in response.
Militarily, I don't like to say where I'm going and what I'm doing.
American University professor Jordan Thomas says leaving the door open for U.S. involvement in Syria marks a shift for the new president.
Trump, during the campaign and even before the campaign, was very critical of the idea of the United States intervening in Syria.
And he is the commander-in-chief. He is the president of the United States. We need to know President Trump's policies for countering these atrocities.
Senators from both sides are putting pressure on the administration to take action.
For me, a statement is not enough. A resolution is important. It's not enough. There needs to be a level of outrage. This needs to become a priority.
As the president discusses Syria and Middle East issues with the King of Jordan, he's also dealing with North Korea's latest test launch of a ballistic missile.
One of the things we're seeing is some other countries kind of testing how this new administration responds to certain actions. I think Assad was probably doing that in part by using chemical weapons, seeing if it would generate any kind of response from the United States.
And President Trump is also preparing for his first visit with China's president. The two leaders are meeting in Mar-a-Lago tomorrow and Friday. In Washington, I'm Aixa Diaz.
Today at the UN, Ambassador Nikki Haley urged the Security Council to approve a resolution that had been drafted by the U.S., Britain, and France. The resolution threatens consequences for the use of chemical weapons. And you should know by now, 4029 is going to have you covered when it comes to an in-depth look at politics this and every Sunday morning. Matter of Fact with Soledad O'Brien airs at 10 o'clock. That's right after This Week with George Stephanopoulos.
At least 25 homes were either destroyed or damaged by a tornado that hit today in Alabama. No word yet on the exact size of the tornado or if there were any injuries. Emergency managers are now asking people to stay clear of the damaged areas until downed power lines and trees can all be cleared out. This was one of 5 confirmed and suspected tornadoes to hit across the southeast U.S. between last night and today. But thankfully in our area, most of the severe weather has moved out.
Yes, that's right. But checking back in with Darby again. Darby, you say the cooler weather is going to stick around with us for a few days.
That's right. Some of us could be seeing sub-freezing temperatures here in just 2 days. Not tonight. So if you got that garden started already, we're not there yet. We're not at the point where you have to start taking precautions, but it will be cold tonight. Take a look at our satellite and radar here. You're going to see that kind of spin with this upper level low that moved through yesterday. It's out across St. Louis now. Behind it, the northwest flow. It's been breezy. The clouds, occasional showers. We expected this. We knew it wasn't going to be the best of days, and it certainly wasn't. But it's obviously a lot worse further east. So the storms that we had yesterday now in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida as well. Bad day for our friends to the southeast. Maybe say a prayer for them. Other storms out across Indiana, Kentucky, moving into Ohio. Really bad storms there, too. This is a bad storm for sure as it continues off to the east. Behind it, the cooler air. You can see low 50s right now across northwest Arkansas, upper 50s to around 60 in the River Valley. A little bit warmer than it was earlier today, so I guess that's the one positive here for us today. Now, tonight, we're going to see those lows fall in the upper 30s in northwest Arkansas. So not in frost territory. We don't have to worry about that. But getting close. And lower 40s in the River Valley. And the winds will be calming down, but never actually getting totally calm. Now, as we go into tomorrow afternoon, it looks to be a beautiful day. Not going to be terribly warm. High temperatures in the upper 50s in northwest Arkansas. Mid 60s for us in the River Valley. But a little bit more sunshine than we saw today. And certainly a little breezy at times, but overall, I think our Thursday looks a little bit better. Now, as we go into Friday morning, now this is from our in-house model, it generally keeps temperatures a little bit warmer than what they actually end up being on nights like what we're going to have tomorrow night. I would expect a few areas to get as cold as 29 or 30 degrees Friday morning. Now, those are going to be outlying areas, especially in valleys. Drake Field, south of Fayetteville. Wouldn't be surprised if we get to 30 there in that kind of valley location. So that's where we're going to have the coldest temperatures. Otherwise, mid-30s will be pretty common across northwest Arkansas. We won't all get a frost Friday morning, but some of us will. In the River Valley, we're talking upper 30s to around 40. And as we go into Friday afternoon, beautiful weather, even a little bit warmer for us. Take a look at the next 7 days. As we go into the weekend, temperatures really start coming up. And you notice by Saturday, highs in the mid-70s in northwest Arkansas, still in the mid-70s on Sunday, so really great weather for most of the weekend. We've got Weatherfest going on at the Fayetteville Public Library on Saturday morning through about noon, and great weather for that. The kids get to learn about severe weather and severe weather safety. Great experience for them. Sunday night into Monday, that's our next good chance of showers and storms. Some of those could be strong. Behind that, Tuesday and Wednesday right now looks mostly dry. In the River Valley, as you'll see here, will start to warm up too as we go into the weekend. Near 80 Saturday and Sunday. Good weather for most of the weekend, really. But again, late Sunday, especially Sunday night into Monday in particular, our next good chance for showers and storms.
Nice to see some good weather for sure. Darby, thank you. I want to bring you another live picture here. This is from downtown Goodman, Missouri, a town, as we've been mentioning, that's going to be spending many of the coming weeks and months recovering from that EF2 tornado that tore through the town last night. We're going to take you back to McDonald County live, coming up ahead on 4029 News. Welcome back, everybody. A really interesting story here for reasons completely unknown. A homeowner in Oklahoma who had a very close encounter with a group of bees made it through the entire ordeal without a single sting. Now, there's no telling exactly why the bees didn't attack her, but as Jessica Shambach from our sister station in Oklahoma reports, it may be because they picked up on her kind intentions.
Thousands of bees drop right on April Collins' head. No suit, no protection, and she says not a single sting.
I don't know if it's the vibe or what, but Mrs. Robinson's neighborhood.
Yeah, there you go.
Save the bees.
April noticed them last week outside her home in the village and finally called for backup. A beekeeper named Ron.
I take them home. I have some hives in my backyard.
We have got to save these bees, and they're vital.
About a third or more of our food depends on pollination by bees.
So together, Ron and April worked to cut down the swarm from her tree. Let's watch the drop one more time in slow-mo. They admit, don't do this at home.
I did get at least 3 stings this morning, so that's the way it goes. Usually the bees that are swarming like this are looking for a new home. So they're not necessarily aggressive, like if you go into their hive.
From a tree to a box in the back of Ron's car. The bees are about to get that new home. And April, well, she's just happy she could help.
I've never been stung by them.
Amazing. I don't know if I'd take that chance. But to this story now, an incredible light show tonight from the International Space Station. Take a look at this. A crew member captured those glowing auroras last week. Auroras are caused when particles from the sun enter the Earth's atmosphere and collide with gases like oxygen and nitrogen. The result is a light show around the magnetic poles of the northern and southern hemispheres. Pretty cool.
Very cool. Well, hey, let's take another live picture of traffic here on the right side of your screen. You can see traffic moving from our JB Hunt camera in Lowell. So far, so good. Taking a look at the maps, and both actually the north and the southbound lanes of I-49 through Lowell are starting to get a little bit busy. Also, Highway 71 showing a couple of backups through Lowell as well.
And here's a live picture at the scene where Brett Rains is right now. He's going to join us after the break with an amazing story that he's working on for 4029 News at 6. Don't go away. Welcome back. We want to go back now to Goodman, Missouri. This is a town ripped apart by an EF2 tornado. This happened last night.
Incredible sights there. 4029's Brett Rains, part of our team coverage, joining us now live. Brett, no doubt you found some powerful stories coming out of Goodman.
Yeah, in fact, people we've talked to say this elementary school, in fact, let's show you. This is what's left of part of the roof here. Look how big that piece of tin is. And let's pan over here and show you what we're standing in front of. This is what's left of the Goodman Elementary School. It's destroyed. Now, people who live here tell me this was essentially the heart of their community, and this school had been here for more than 100 years. Coming up tonight at 6, we'll hear about school administrators' plans for students, because obviously they cannot go to school here. Live in Goodman, Brett Rains, 4029 News.
So much more to come. I know. Yeah. Brett, thanks so much. Just the amazing news is that no one there lost their lives, no serious injuries. I mean, it's incredible.
It could, I mean, with the damage like that, it's a good thing. So thanks for joining us here on 4029 News at 5.
Coming up next, it's World News Tonight with David Muir. But as Brett just mentioned, we are taking you back to Goodman coming up at 6, so make sure you join us. We'll see you then.